Namaste yogis, welcome back to the Yoga Pantry and Natasha's mat and mat bag review. Today we're going to have a look at all of the yoga mats that I have. Might be here a while, and also we're going to have a look at the mat bags as well. Why do I have so many mats? Because I wanted to try out, there's so many different kinds of mats out there, and I wanted to try them all out so that you don't have to. You can just come here, and eventually I'll write a blog about it, or read, you can read my blog or my mat guide and make a decision from there. It is a minefield of yoga mats out there when you're trying to find the perfect mat for your practice. There are thick mats, thin mats, rubber mats, foam mats, TPE mats, mats with flax or linen, mats with toweling, mats with vinyl on the top, mats with cork, mats with, you get the picture. There's a lot of different kinds of mats, and I own quite a few of them. You can get round mats, you can get travel mats, you can get big heavy mats, you can get extra long mats. I do not own any extra long mats. Don't really need one, and they cost a lot of money. But if you're a tall person, I recommend you get an extra long mat. It's worth the investment to feel comfortable in your practice, especially if you're, somewhere in an environment that you don't feel so happy about. The very first mat I ever had, and I actually don't own one anymore in this house. I do have them at my yoga studio, but the very first mat I had was one of those normal squidgy TPE foam ones, the sticky mats that you see everywhere that you can pick up for a song, $5, $10, $14. And it was, I think, 4 millimeters maybe. So not very thick, but it was a little denser than the normal ones. It was a pretty good mat. It was bright green, and I loved it, and I used it a lot. And then I did my yoga teacher training, and I invested in my very, very first mat. Manduka. Now this mat bag was made by a mum of a friend of mine, so you can totally make your own yoga mat bag if you like, with a sleeve. I know a friend who just chopped off the pants of her jeans, sewed up the bottom, and put a little curl at the top, and then chucked a thread through top and bottom. Voila! So you can definitely do that. This is the first mat I ever owned. It is filthy. Disclaimer, it is absolutely filthy. I haven't cleaned it, and I do use it when I'm outdoors a lot. This is my Pro Light Manduka. It has this lovely, soft yet firm feeling to it. I think this is 5 mils. And yeah, I've enjoyed using this mat. It rolls out flat. This one's been sitting in my car because it's my car mat. I have made the mistake of going to a yoga festival and not having a mat on me because I completely forgot to put one in my car, which is ridiculous when you see how many mats I have. So this one pretty much lives in my car because I know it's going to be good on every surface. It needs a good clean. And because it's so durable, I do use it outdoors because I know I can give it a good rub down, a good scrub, and it will come up looking beautiful. Now I know some people have bought these Manduka mats and they find that they're quite slippy when they first get them, and so they have to condition them and scrub them with salt, and it even says that in the instructions. I was lucky, I didn't have that problem. My mat came and it's got a nice slippiness to it, a nice grip, to it. And it took me through my whole teacher training. I did a year-long diploma in yoga philosophy and asana training. And I loved it. I loved using it every day for that practice. And yeah, this one will be with me for life for sure. I'll never get rid of this mat. I do enjoy the Manduka products. I will show you my other Manduka mat. If I can remember where it is. I think it might be in this bag. So Manduka mat number 2. Why did I get another one? Because it's not in that bag. I am missing a yoga mat. somewhere, maybe. Here it is. So this is another kind of mat bag. Now I prefer mat bags with zips that open up completely, because you can get to your whole mat, and it's way easier to put it in than trying to shove it, especially if you've got a fatter mat. It's quite hard to put it into these styles of bags. So I do like a good zip one. And also, as we move down the bags, I like them with pockets and stuff. The thing I like about this bag is you could fill it and use it as a bolster, but it's got a handle at the top and at the bottom, so you can pick this mat up from any side. I got this from AliExpress. It's got a pocket on the inside as well. So, and it's got breathing holes, so if your mat's a little smelly, it gets to, you know, breathe a little. This here is my Manduka Eco Mat. I saw it and I had to have it. It looks like stone, it's beautiful, and it's red on the back. So both of these, this is made out of rubber, so this does not have a lifetime guarantee on it. This will eventually break down, and apparently, according to Manduka, you can pop it in the garden, use it as a weed mat, and it will decompose over time. I don't imagine that ever happening to my mats because I have so many and I like to mix them up, that they'll all probably last forever, and I can will them to someone when I pass. But it's actually larger than my Pro Light. I do believe it is. It's a good, it's quite hefty. So the Manduka mats are quite weighty, and I really like that in my yoga mats. Let's do a comparison. It is a centimeter longer than my Pro Light, and it is quite a bit wider than my Pro Light. I like the width of it a lot. I do like, I mean, the Pro Light's fine, but once you get a mat that's a little fatter, you're like, oh, that's great. That's so much better. You know, wide-legged forward folds, lying in Shavasana with your arms a little wider. It's just nice not to be touching the floor if you're on a cold floor. So I do love this mat, and I love it because I love the design on it as well. This one has a rubber smell. It wasn't, I'm trying to think back to when I first got it. It wasn't crazy, but it does have a rubber smell to it, and it will go away over time. This one just smells like me now. I don't think it had a smell when I got it, but I can't remember. I've had this one, my purple mat, for a good 5 years, 6 years, a good 6 years now. And I've had this one for about 4, I think. So yeah, my Manduka means frog. That's why their symbol is a frog. So my Manduka Eco Mat is definitely one of my faves. I do pull this out and I use it a lot. Now I have seen these mats come into yoga class after a lot of wear and tear, and they don't look great. The little stringy parts that are holding the top piece of, I don't know what that is, like a fabric, a rubber infused fabric, to the rubber base. They tend to fray after a while, but I love this mat a lot. So let's put this back here. So my third Manduka is, and I've got it in one of these bags, my travel mat. I was going to Texas a couple of years ago and I wanted to do yoga while I was there. So I invested in a travel mat. I got this online somewhere because it was cheaper than getting it from anywhere else that I found. And basically all this is, remember that eco mat I showed you? I'm pretty sure all this is the top part of the eco mat. So it is a fabric infused rubber. But as you can see, it's foldable. When I store it as a roll, but you can completely fold this up and pop it in your suitcase. That's why I bought it. Look at how brilliant that is for traveling. You can't do that. Well, you could do that with this, but you'd only be able to fold it kind of like that. As opposed to this, and it's lighter. It's still a little bit weighty because it does have that rubber base, and I used it in hotels and it was great. It's very non-slippy, it's got a good grip, it sticks to the carpet. I loved it. But I have a new favorite travel mat which I actually use at home normally on the daily. Here it is. I got this one as a sample mat from a company that manufactures them. And this has, and it came with this handy strap. This, also a foldable one. You can see it's got the rubber on the back, but it's got kind of a suede fabric on the top. And of course, it's got this amazing pattern. Like, how great is that? You can use both sides, the fun side or the serious side. And completely foldable. This is lighter actually and thinner than this. There is quite a significant difference in weight, but there's not a significant difference in feel when I use them because they're both thin, and I would use it on carpet or, you know, perfect to take it to a yoga studio. You just take this mat with you, roll it out on top of the studio mat, and you don't have to worry about other people's cooties. So even though I have this mat from Manduka, which is good quality, high quality, I adore this mat from the internet. I'm just having a look at size comparison because I believe that my lovely colorful mat is significantly wider. It's significantly wider. So what's that? That's like 5 centimeters wider. And it is even a couple of centimeters. Come on. Actually, it's about 5 centimeters longer too. Again, which is great. When you're lying down on carpet in a hotel, it's much nicer to be on your mat. I do believe that this particular mat, although I haven't tried it myself, can be put in the washing machine and cleaned. And because it's got this non-kind of slippy, velour-y, fabric-y thing on the top, you could use it in place of a towel in a hot yoga class. It does depend on how sweaty you get though. A towel's easier to wash and clean for sure. But I absolutely adore that mat. I do enjoy a good travel mat. So that is another option to look at if you're thinking about getting a yoga mat. The good thing about a travel mat, it's light. You can pop it in your gym bag and just roll it out onto any studio mat. What else do I have in here? This is a mat that I haven't really tried yet because it just arrived today. It's intriguing to me. So it's got the TPE, which is the, I can't remember what that stands for, but it's that foam which isn't so environmentally friendly. But on this side, it's like a toweling. I don't really know how well you can see that, but it's kind of like a toweling surface. It's got the nice alignment marks on the front, which is great. It's mint green, which is a bonus, and it's quite dense. I would say this would be about 4, probably 5 mil. So it's quite soft and cushy, and if you're sweaty, this would be quite a nice mat to have, because you're going to find that on the fabric, your hands are going to grip a little better if you're quite sweaty. And because it's made out of this foamy TPE stuff, I imagine you could actually throw this in your washing machine if you had a big enough washing machine, and you could probably throw it in the dryer or just hang it on the line to clean it out. And it's also quite a cheap mat. I got it from AliExpress. I just really was intrigued by the look of it and how it would feel, and I am pleasantly quite surprised. It's nice. It's like a good mat that you could hang out on and enjoy, because it's like lying on a towel. It's got that toweling kind of feel to it. So I don't know if we'll see many of these around, because this is obviously maybe just a new kind of gimmick, but it's cute. It's cute. I would totally use it, and I will be using it in my next video or two. So that's one option. And though I don't have the cheap TPE, those sticky mat ones, if you know what I'm talking about, this is probably the cheapest mat I own. I bought it because it's gold. Who doesn't like a good gold mat? And it's actually been quite impressive. It was, I don't know, $12 or $14, something like that. I think I got it from Kmart. I've seen them in the warehouse. It has a dense foam on the back, and then it's got the shiny gold on the front. And you've probably seen this in quite a few of my yoga videos, because I thought that back surface would be great for grass and dirt, and it would wipe off clean. And it has actually stayed really clean, so I haven't subjected my expensive Manduka mat to the outdoors since I've had this mat. This is kind of my go-to outside mat. Obviously, if I used it a lot over time, this gold surface will wear. I can already see a little bit of wear on it. But it's just cute. It's just a gimmick. And I think if a mat brings you joy, get it. This brings me joy for sure. This is, I mean, look, it's just so shiny. So this is, as I said, a super cheap mat. And all of this is in New Zealand dollars, because that's where I live. And there is this mat bag. I bought this, I guess it's a gym bag. It was advertised as a mat bag. Look, it's got a little kind of yoga-y design on the front. This is a great bag that I take with me to my private sessions, because I don't know if you saw, I just whipped out a couple of blocks, my mat. I've also got a towel in here. I've got tennis balls for the tennis ball exercises. I've got golf balls and reflexology balls. I've got straps galore. 2 of each, so that I can show my clients what we're doing. And it's got a big pocket, 2 little pockets. It's got a big waterproof pocket on the inside. You can zip it up and you can clip it up to make it smaller. So this, and of course it's got more pockets on the outside, more pockets galore. So it is a great bag to have if you need like your gym clothes, your towel. Like if you're going to a gym, then you only need this. Crikey, I've got a lot of stuff in here. And I've also got a lesson plan. You really only need this bag. Look, it fits perfectly my yoga mat, hence it being a yoga mat bag. And it fits my blocks as well. Has a towel, sling it over the shoulder, you're good to go. Zip it up if you like. So I enjoy this bag a lot, and I use it a lot. This is my, I'm going to do a private lesson, or I'm going to take it and shoot a video, and I've got all my stuff in here bag, which is good to go. So another yoga mat I have, I'll just talk about this briefly because this came out of that bag and I should put it back in. This is a yoga towel, so to speak. So you can get yoga mat towels, or this isn't really made out of toweling. It's supposed to be an absorbent sweat fabric that you put over the top of your yoga mat. I've never used it. I bought it because I thought it might be handy, and I have literally never used it. Some people love it, love having their towels. For some, if you don't own a yoga mat and you go to a studio and they've got mats, you can bring along your towel and roll it out onto the mat so that you're keeping your sweat to yourself, which as studio owners we appreciate a lot. Thank you very much. And it's so easy to carry. Just pop it in your bag and go. It's not heavy, and it's a little less dense than a travel yoga mat. What next? Let me see how we're doing. Make sure we've still got battery on the mic. So behind me, let's see what's in bag number 5. I have, oh, this is another one of my favorites. And actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but I have 3 of these yoga mat bags because I love them. They're big, they're roomy. They won't fit an extra large mat in there, but they will fit a standard size one. And they open right up from the top all the way down. It's super easy to put your mat in and take your mat out. It has 2 pockets for wallets and phones and stuff, and then it has another pocket on the inside for more safety stuff. A strap. The only thing it doesn't have, which I loved about this bag, is the handle at the top, because it's so handy to just pick up that way. So yeah, this, you could also, if you had 2 mats, you'd have a bolster as well, so that's kind of handy as well. I do love these, also from AliExpress incidentally. Now this is very Lululemon-esque, right? Or a Lifeform-esque. It's got the rubber on the bottom. This is, I think, a 4 mil thickness. It might be 5, I think it's 4. And it's got the vinyl top. So this is what you would find on a Lululemon or a Lifeform, or lots of mats are made like this now. This is a nice wide mat, just like the other wide mats that I've shown you today. And what this was a sample mat, because I've been looking around to try and get new mats for my studios. This was a sample mat, and it has the alignment marks on it, which you may be able to see. It's also got these little yogis doing their yoga poses in the corner. That's why I love it, and it's red. So I love it because it's red. My partner loves it. This is his favorite mat, and because it's red and it's got the yogis on it, I didn't want to give it to him, so I bought him his own mat, but it's grey, so I don't think he's as excited. It's the same but better. This is from a different company, much more Lululemon-y in fact than this one. So there's different grades and different qualities of these kind of, it is a minefield when you go onto Amazon, or you go onto AliExpress, or you go onto any of those big marketplaces where you can buy a yoga mat. It does get really overwhelming to decide what do you want. Is the quality going to be very good? Are you going to like the mat? So first of all, look at density, look at size and width, and then look at something that you like, color, design, something that brings you joy. Because if you just get a mat for functionality, that's fine. But if you get a mat that when you roll it out, it makes you smile, you're gonna love your yoga practice. So get something that makes you smile. This I adore. Hopefully my partner will adore it too after a while. It's got the alignment marks on it, and it's got a matching grey back, so any color that matches the front's going to match the back. This is from the same company that made this. These are sample mats that I've been looking at, so you can totally go on to Alibaba, look at their sample mats and request a sample if you like. So this company makes good mats. This company is called UGO. I don't know if they sell online. I think they just sell to suppliers, but they make really good mats. This is like a Lifeform or a Lululemon style mat. It's got a much thicker vinyl top to this one. You'll know the quality by the color. Does it match the front and the back of the mat? Even though the rubber base looks very similar, this is denser. It's much denser, and it's got a much thicker, sort of like a stronger feel to the top of it. So not all vinyls are created equal. That said, I do love using my red mat. I haven't used this one because it's not mine, it's my partner's. He hasn't used it much either. Because I got him the mat, he didn't get it himself. But it's a lovely mat. And the thing with these kind of vinyl mats, like Lululemon, Lifeform, and those ones that make these kind of mats, is they do have a lifespan of about 3 to 5 years if you're lucky. 3's about standard with wear and tear. You can use both sides, front or back, up to you, which you feel more comfortable with. A lot of my yogis that come into class, I notice actually like that most of them have Lululemon mats because they're the most accessible for us in terms of going to a shop and getting a decent quality mat at an okay price. So these are, they enjoy the rubber side. They find this a bit sticky, a bit slippy and a bit hard to grip on. But yeah, it's really up to you. I actually really like the mats with the alignment marks on them, more because I'm a teacher, and if I'm trying to explain to someone and they've got alignment marks on their mat, they can get a better grasp of where they should be placing their body. But it's not a must. It's kind of cool to be able to have that though. So those are the vinyl mats. I'll just pop this to the side. Oh, I've got more. Don't you worry. Pros and cons of vinyl mats. It's the, in comparison to my Mandukas, which I think are going to last much, much, much longer. These ones are lovely, but they don't have as good a sense of longevity with them. Eventually, the surface will just wear out. Next, are you ready? We have cork. And this bag I bought purely to match my cork bag mat. If you've seen my cork mat review, you can check. I mean, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk very briefly about this because I've done a whole thing on the old cork mat. But this has the chakras on it, and I bought the bag because my cork mat has the chakras on it. This is a 3mm mat, rubber, same exact type of rubber that's on my red and my grey vinyl topped mats, and a cork top with the chakra design. I go on about this mat in a whole nother review, so I won't go on more. And again, this is one of those bags that has the drawstring top. It's a nice fat one. I got this from Amazon because I was Googling chakra mat bags and I found one that I like. It's got a pocket. It's cool, but I'm not a big fan of the whole hole in the top. I like the whole zip up thing for the bag. What's in bag number 10? This is a mat that I also hardly ever use, but you may have seen these around in different forms. So this, and I love the color of it, this is the one with the flax or linen top or fabric top. So that they have, you can either get them flax, linen, or there's another thing that they advertise that they make out of. And this is the TPE, you know, those normal sticky mats that you get. This is what's on the back of it. Some of them, I think you can get these kind of tops with maybe a blend of rubber and TPE in the back. Super light. And you've probably seen a lot of mats like this show up in your yoga class with nice painted designs on them. They've kind of pushed the foam through the linen. And it's an okay mat. Now, I never use this mat. I even forgot that I owned it because I find it's quite, you can graze yourself on it, even though it's foam and it's like a hessian or a flax or whatever that is made out of. It can be quite harsh because it's kind of knobbly. It's not smooth. And I think with more wear and tear, it's probably going to get even more uncomfortable as the soft knobbly bits get worn off. And then you're just kind of left with that harsh like sacking cloth. But what do I know? I don't use it that much. You could use one and try it yourself. Basically, when I first used it, that's what I felt, and it really put me off using it. I use it sometimes because it's cute, and you know, I shoot lots of videos, and it's nice to just try a different mat from time to time. It's quite soft. This one's not a very dense. This is your typical yoga mat that you'd find at one of those cheap shops or, you know, bulk stores. Just a good old general yoga mat that you can throw in the washing machine. You wouldn't throw this one in because it's got the fabric on the top, but yeah, you get what I mean when I talk about the TPE base there. So this is one of those mats that is quite trendy at the moment. I don't think the trend is going to last because it's not a great mat. It's an okay mat. If you have one and you love it, that's cool. I apologize if I offend you, but this is just my opinion. I wouldn't spend a lot of money getting one of these mats, even if they claim to be environmentally friendly, blah blah blah. There are other better environmentally friendly mats. This mat bag came free with a mat that I'm about to show you. So this came free with a bag, and it's a nice waterproof bag. It's quite thin, so you'd only get a small mat in. And check it out, it's quite a small mat, right? This is a standard. This is probably the same height as my Manduka. Yeah, my Manduka is actually even a little bit smaller, so there is quite a bit of width in these vinyl kind of mats, and from what I've seen, they're all about this size. You don't really get them this size, which is good, which is really good. All right, making a huge mess behind me. This mat bag, whoops, I'll just put it back in, is not going to last very long. It's okay, it's waterproof, which has pros and cons because it means it's not going to let my mat breathe if I got all sweaty and then forgot to put it out. But it has a pocket, which is handy, and a little adjustable strap. So this is not a bag I take anywhere, but it's handy to store my mat in, and it was free, so who am I to complain? Right, let's have a look. Okay, so this nice and good bag I got when I bought this one. This was another one that I bought because I was curious about the whole thing. I actually haven't used this mat much either, and I'll talk about it in a moment. So there's the other version of my favorite mat bag, a nice blue one. This has a weaved linen top, and it's gonna blow your mind with how cute the design is. It's got this massive phoenix, peacock, whatever bird on it, peacock. Ugh. Ugh. It's quite weighty. I think it's another 5 mil, and it's got the rubber backing, and I love how it looks. I love how it looks. However, I don't love how it feels. The back of it is just the standard rubber that I've shown you with the cork mat and my vinyl mats. So you could use the back if you got it and you were disappointed. The top is a weaved linen. I'll show you that up close. And why, let me turn it around. It is weighty and hefty, and I don't mind that in my mats. I like that a lot, and I like that it's got this beautiful peacock on it. However, it's kind of itchy. It doesn't feel nice. There's some weird coating on it, I guess, from the printing. Kind of feels like they've got some glue on it, but you can still feel the fabric, the weave. I guess they had to glue it all down, and so it's kind of got that sense that it's got the glue on it, and maybe it would come off if I cleaned it with something, but then I'd get more of that itchiness, because it's like, I guess, a harsh linen or a Hessian sacking, you know, that feeling. And so if I lie on it, it's not delicious. Like the cork mat, you lie on it and it's quite nice. The vinyl ones, you lie on it, they're, you know, meh. You don't get too excited about it. They just are what they are. These type of fabric one's kind of nice to lie on. This one, it's kind of itchy. So as awesome as they look and as cool as the idea is, I would stay away from one of those as well, because unless you've got thick skin and you don't mind the itch and you just like the look, then go for it. But I find these ones too itchy, and I imagine excuse me, over the long term, hard to keep clean. That brings us to we've got 2 more mats actually. So one back here, another one of these open at the top ones. Again, not favorite of the open at the top, because they're hard to get the mat out of. This is, oh my gosh, also one of the earlier mats I've bought and I never use. Why don't I use it? Because I have better mats. I might use it more now because I've gotten used to this this kind of suede, micro suede velour cover. So again, it's got the exact same black rubber backings. As you can see, there's a theme. I love rubber backed mats. The rubber is dense. It's much more comfortable on floors and the hard floors and things like that. This is the same density as my cork mat, which was 3 mils. It's just got a different top. So the topping for this is also beautiful. I gotta say, I spent a lot of money on this mat because I wanted the picture of it. So it's a beautiful mat, and it's that lovely, soft, kind of suede-y feeling. I don't know if that comes across in the camera. So this is a nice kind of suede-ish feel to it. And when I first got it, I gotta admit, wow, it's nowhere near as wide as that peacock mat I just showed you. Look at that. When I first got it, I found it too slidey and slippy. There are a lot of mats like this out now with beautiful patterns all over them, and I have a studio mat that is a round one with the same fabric and the same rubber, and now that I've used it a lot, I actually love it. And because I've used it a lot, it's gotten more grip over it, so the fabric over time and use will get more grip. It'll be sort of less slick and slippy. And that studio mat I have used for, gosh, I don't know, 3 years, and I teach a lot of classes, and it has lasted really, really well. Apparently you can put these in the washing machine. I've never tried it, so don't quote me on that. But that's really handy if you can wash it like that. And of course, if you do find these kind of mats with this fabric on them quite slippy, they're great for sweaty people, or just wet your hands and you'll instantly get that grip. The cool thing about slippy mats is you can slide your feet back and forth into different kind of positions, move your heels and stuff without having to lift the legs and reposition, which is nice if you're doing some kind of floaty, dancey kind of style of yoga flow. That's really lovely. I would recommend these mats. I know a lot of hot yoga studios use these mats as well because they kind of come with their own towel on the top. But again, it depends on how slidey and slippy you get. One of my friends bought one of these as well with a big stag on it for his hot yoga practice, and I think he loves his mat and he loves rolling it out because it's so unique. You know, they have these beautiful patterns on them. So this is a mat that I should pull out more and use more. It just kind of got lost in the crowd, but it's the same exact fabric. Well, no, it's not actually. It's not the same. This is a little more grippy, this fabric. I'm telling you, this company is just awesome at making yoga mats. This one has a lovely feel, like you would want to lie down on this mat and go into Shavasana. It has a lovely feel, but you've got to learn how to use it. You've got to learn how to align your body and work your muscles to hold your grip there, or wet those hands. If you're sweaty, you'll have no problems. So that is how I feel about these kind of mats with the fabric and the rubber. And there's lots of these around because they do look great, and they're actually quite reasonable. You can get these at a reasonable price. When I got this, it was before these were all trendy, and I paid a lot of money for it. And that leaves us one more. Now, I mentioned I have a round mat at the studio. It is a 3mm, so same thickness as this. It's pretty much exactly this, but round and a different pattern, of course. And when I was looking for more sample mats, I thought I'd sample a travel style round mat. It came in this cute little carry bag with a little yoga lady on it. And it's foldable because it's only 1mm, maybe 1.5mm thick, and it has that same velour-y fabric on it, but it's thin. So I have one of these in the studio that's thicker, 3mm. I love my round mat. If you have the opportunity and space in your house, or if you're a yoga teacher and you teach in a studio and you've got space to roll out a round mat, I love my round mat because I'm not constrained to any side. I know some yoga teachers do the T-cross, but why? When you've got a round mat. It means that I can teach on any angle to my students wherever they are, and yeah, it's great. I really enjoy it. So this is my travel round mat if I need it, and if you have kids, of course, just as a play mat, it's great. Yoga mats are great as a play mat, and a round one is great too. So there you have it. Those are all of the mats that I currently own, I think. Pretty sure that's all of them. Which are my favorites? Which are my go-tos? I absolutely use all the time. These are the ones that I will go to and pull out more often than the others. The others I'll use as a novelty. Oh, I gotta say, that gold one, I use that for filming a lot. I enjoy it, and you've probably watched the videos where I'm like, sun in my eyes, because it's quite shiny in the sun. But yeah, these are my favorites, my two Mandukas and my one that is red with yogis on it. So I really like it. And of course my round mat at the yoga studio, which is exactly the same as this round mat but thicker, and the velour one that I showed you just a few moments ago. Those are my favorite mats. They're the ones I use all the time. It's really up to you when you're looking for a yoga mat. What do you want it for? Are you a sweaty person? Are you doing a lot of hot yoga? Do you practice at home? Do you practice in a studio? What's the floor surface like in the studio? Do you need something firmer or softer? Do you have trouble balancing? Then you need a firmer mat. Do you need a little bit more comfort? Then you might need a thicker mat. I wouldn't ever recommend a softer mat. I'd always go for something a bit firmer, but maybe thicker, so you feel like you are supported with comfort. When I say firm, they're not like super hard. They're going to support you. Yeah, so those are good mats. So yeah, that is my long-winded, here are all these mats. These are the choices you have, and I'm sure there's more and more and more out there, and why I like or dislike them. Thank you so much for joining me and going through this little journey of yoga mats with me. I will see you again soon with an actual yoga video. Namaste.